Hi everyone, I'm Literary Freak 11, and this is vlog day 21 of the O.W.L's Read-a-Thon, and I meant to film this video on Friday, but the truth was that I hit a reading slump because I've been pushing myself too hard to read this month, and I just didn't have enough to talk about, so I'm going to start with The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. I've only read 3 chapters of this so far. It's about this woman, Elizabeth Frankenstein, adopted and raised by the Frankensteins, but was never really one of them. Kind of about her journey with Victor as he becomes darker and darker. And so this follows 2 timelines, which I didn't realize. The first is the present timeline, where Victor has gone away to school and for 2 years, and they've not heard from him for about a year and a half. And so she's finally gone to the city where he's in school and is tracking him down, and then the story of them growing up together is told in flashbacks. And so I'm kind of enjoying it, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it, honestly, because the story that's in the present is taking so long to progress, and I'm not quite sure how the flashbacks fit in yet, other than being kind of interesting. I did finish To Kill a Mockingbird, and I love that book so much, and Atticus, again, is such a great parent, and the ending is so devastating, but he also holds on to his morals so deeply, and even though in the end, there's nothing that he can do about it, he ends up, still being a very strong character, and it's interesting to watch the children grow up. I understand why this book is read for children at younger ages, because the kids are just such kids, and it really comes off as very real characters, and in general, I just really enjoyed that book. I finished this one as well. This was my Transfiguration book because it has a red cover, and I love the title because it's a pun, because This Mortal Coil, because it's about DNA and DNA coils, and it's mortal, it has to do with life. This book is about a girl who exists in this post-apocalyptic universe where people can kind of like hack their genes, but not completely, so they can't change their original underlying genetics, but they can kind of put like these clothes on their genetics to shape the way that they look outwardly. In this world, this virus has started, and it basically causes people to blow up, which is, again, why this cover looks like this. And so there's a lot of other aspects to it, too. And so this girl finds out that her father has passed away and has sent her on this mission. He has created a vaccine, but it is encrypted, and he needs her to encrypt it. And so he sends her this soldier from Cartaxis, this corporation that kind of rules everything. And oh my goodness, I didn't like the ending because it's very clear that it's setting up for a second book. And I didn't want that. I wanted it to just, you know what I mean? It has this happy ending where everyone's celebrating, they have the vaccine, and then they just add another layer to it that's like utterly unnecessary, and I didn't need it, and I just would have loved this book to be a standalone, and it was trying too hard to create plugs for the next thing, and the ending was just so contrived. I probably would have given this, 4.5, 5 stars if it weren't for that. And as it is, it's still a 4-star book. It's a really fun read. So I'm really glad that I finished that. The next book, I think everyone's using like one of these books for a book with 2 authors, and I am no exception. This is Illuminae, because you can't see the title, by Anne Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and basically this is a book about these 2 companies that are fighting over this planet, and people on the planet have to essentially evacuate, and it's told in these interviews and logs, and there's kind of 2 main characters. This girl who really has problems with authority, and this guy who is just really, really snarky to all of his authority figures. And so it's interesting because you only see him through these logs and these interviews and these memos and official documents, and you get the feeling that he's really not as snarky as he's trying to come off, when he's talking to these types of people, and it's very interesting, and I don't know if you ever really get to know who the real him is, because, you know, you're oftentimes someone different under different circumstances, and so you kind of get this, some of the logs are written by him, and you get a little bit more of that sense of him, and I really enjoyed that. I do have one more book that I'm about half an hour into the audiobook for, Star Climber, and it's kind of weird. They're constructing this tower that's supposed to go really high. It's already 10 times bigger than the Eiffel Tower. The main character's on a ship to help build it when it gets hijacked. These people are trying to deliver a bomb to the tower because they think it's similar to the Tower of Babel in the Old Testament in the Bible, where people try to build a tower to reach God, and that was considered blasphemous. And so God mixed up all of their languages and created a bunch of different languages so no one could understand each other, so no one could build the tower anymore. And so this is taking place in France, and you have the crew of the ship is kind of this mixed cast of characters where, you know, one is French, one's American, one's Irish, one's, you know, Syrian or something like that. And so you kind of have this idea that this book is going to be a really mixed, interesting cast of characters, because it's not like, oh, you know, they have this race but they're all French or something like that, but they're really all from these different places because this tower has created so much work. And so although I was a little bit leery at first, I'm very interested to see where this goes. So I also read 2 other books that were not for the Read-a-Thon, and I don't feel like I should discuss them here because they're not Read-a-Thon books. However, I will be discussing those books at my end of year wrap up. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to dedicate 1 minute or less to books that I've talked about in vlogs and put the corners. So if you want more about those vlogs and my thoughts, which books appeared in which vlogs, and then I'm going to spend 2 minutes or less talking about the books that I didn't talk about in my vlogs. Also, this is my home bookshelf. So real quick, you have mostly stuff that I read in school, and I have all of my Narnia stuff, and actually I just love these because I lost these 2 books and I had to buy new ones to replace them. This is the Chronicles of Vladimir Todd series. This is a series I really loved in high school. You know, stuff like that. And then on the bottom shelf is mostly stuff that's not mine or our textbooks. I have some textbooks up here too. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow me on social media, linked in the description below.